Hey everyone, Charles here, and first of all, thank you for stopping by my podcast. If this show inspires you, makes you think, or gives you that courage to jump into action, please help by donating to this show. Click the link in the description and donate. Your donation helps us with production and finding great guests moving forward. Thank you and enjoy. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Jump Podcast Show. If this is your first time, welcome. Now, Jump is all about jumping. No, not jumping up and down, jumping into greatness, jumping into that next level. Now, my next guest, he's got an interesting story for you. Chasing that dream. Are you guys chasing a dream? Well, let's talk about it as we move into the next level. It's time to jump. Let's go.
You know you should be doing something different, right? Hey, I'm talking to you. Do you believe that you have the gift for greatness or have a special talent, but don't have the courage to take that next step? Always wondering how others made it look so easy? Well, welcome to Jump, the show that will bring you special guests just like you and me. How did they get the courage to jump into greatness? Doing what they love and living the good life. So, get ready to jump with your host, Charles Matthews Jr.
Yes, we are live, and welcome and thank you for joining us on the Jump Podcast. Without further ado, please welcome my special guest. This is Jeff.
Jeff, how you doing, Charles? I'm doing great. How are you, Charles?
I'm good, my friend. So first of all, where are you calling in from?
Actually, I am visiting my brother in Houston, Texas.
Oh, man, is it sunny out there right now?
It's sunny and 70 degrees.
you could have just lied to me, right?
Well, if it's any consolation, the humidity is 65, so it's a lot. It's fairly humid.
Listen, I'll take it any day, man. And it's sitting there in the nice. So everything is well with you?
I'm doing very well. Having a nice visit. I originate from Roswell, Georgia. And came down here to visit my brother and sister-in-law and having a nice visit.
All right. So tell us where you're born and raised then, and tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Well, I was actually born in Caracas, Venezuela. Both of my parents are Americans, and they lived there 10 years. I lived there 4. And when I left Caracas, we got on a boat, and I was trilingual. I spoke English, Spanish, and whatever the donkey in the neighbor's backyard was speaking.
Okay.
And we took a boat. We stopped in Cuba, and were asked to leave from Cuba because Fidel Castro had decided to come out of the hills, and we were forced to leave because he was taking over Cuba in 1959. And then we moved to Wilmington, Delaware, Summit, New Jersey. Then my dad got transferred to his corporate headquarters, which were in Bermuda, which was just a terrible place to have my middle school years. It was like being at camp every day. And then we moved back to Summit, New Jersey. And I went to college at Rollins College in Winter Park, Florida. And got married in 1981 and moved to beautiful Roswell, Georgia. So I'm a Southerner by choice.
So growing up, what was the dream? What was your, what did you see yourself doing as a little kid? What was the ultimate 2 jobs? Like you said, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that.
Well, my dad worked for a large company, may be familiar, called American International Group, or AIG. And so I'm the youngest of 5, and I have 3 older brothers and a sister. And we were kind of pushed, to excel in what we did. And so I guess my dream originally was to be in advertising. Okay. I have an ambidextrous mind. I'm very creative, but I'm very analytical. So I sometimes have an internal battle. So my goal was to I used to watch Bewitched, and Darren Stevens was the in advertising, and I thought this is really a great job. You get to be creative, and you get to deal with people, and it seemed to be my go-to, other than wanting to be an astronaut after I saw Sputnik go up. So,
Okay.
but yeah, my whole family is been surrounded. My dad was very successful at what he did. The downside was he ended up being married to his business, and we kind of suffered from that from a relational standpoint. But he did well for himself, and that was sort of the goal I set for myself, is to live the American dream and find my way up the ladder. And you work hard and put your nose to the grindstone, and success will follow.
Okay. And you just that was the number one thing, is every day you got to go out and do what you got to do.
Yeah, and it was just let's go make it happen. And I met my wife, my ex-wife, at college, and we got married and moved to Atlanta. And I was working for Merrill Lynch. I had worked at Merrill Lynch down in Miami, and then got a job as a stockbroker in Atlanta. And I thought, this is great, because this was pre the existence of social media and the access to information, where you could sit next to a computer back then, and you got Reuters news as it happened. So like you ever see on the movies where it has the teletype going and it's releasing the news. Mm-hmm. That's what we had. And that was like, I thought, this is really cool, because I'm at the heartbeat of the world here. And I did pretty well my first year. And then I got to be, I thought, pretty successful. And Merrill Lynch said, if you don't do $100,000 in commissions, you're gone. I was like, wait a second. Last year, if I did 100,000, I got to the President's Club. And this year, you're telling me if I don't do it, I'm fired.
Right.
And so I left there and went to work for Dean Witter Reynolds. And that was an interesting endeavor, because I don't know if you were around when the IRAs were introduced. And Dean Witter got bought out by Sears. So they had put in Sears financial centers inside each one of the Sears stores.
Okay.
And my boss was like kind of the guy you see in the movies. It looked like he had the garters on his sleeves, and he had like the eye shade. He was an accountant, stock guy. He didn't want anything to do with that. So the fortunate thing for me is he put me in charge of it, because he figures if it fails, then it's just, this underling that didn't do a very good job. And I had so much fun putting that together and getting people into the stores to come in and talk about IRAs and stuff. And that just seemed like, that was going to happen. The one thing that discouraged me a little bit is some of the people that I saw that were really, really successful were not my kind of people. They weren't the kind of people I wanted to grow up and be like.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, they were so focused on money that we had an expression in the stock business. I don't know if you ever heard it. It's called churn 'em and burn 'em.
Okay.
And churn 'em and burn 'em means I'm gonna sell you as much as I possibly can, and then sell the stock to make a commission on both ends. And then I'm going to put you in something else, and I'm just going to continually do that. Now, hopefully you do that and you're successful and you make them money. But to me, that just didn't seem like the right thing. So I was able to get into a course at the Robert T. Regan School of Finance, which was part of Merrill Lynch. And I became a financial planner, because I thought, okay, this is what you do. I want to counsel people. I want to be able to advise them. So like I'm the go-to guy for information. Mm-hmm. And when I did that, the interest rates got up to be like 17%. And so a lot of the people that I was dealing with were in the fixed income, sort of the older group like I am now. And what Merrill Lynch wanted me to sell is they make a market in stock. So what that means is they buy a chunk of stock and then they turn around and resell it. So they make a profit coming and going. And you were given 10,000 shares that you had to go sell to your customers. Well, I just didn't think that was the right thing because this wasn't the right investment vehicle for my clients.
Right. I get it.
And they said, well, wait, these are our customers. They're not your customers.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, okay, let's reduce who I think I'm this big financial advisor, and I'm, carry a bigger wand, that you're just a salesman. At the end of the day, that's all you are. You're a salesman.
Yeah, and that throws you for a loop because you're working with these clients one-on-one. These are your it's not just clients, these are your people.
Yeah, and that's the way I kind of look at it, because that's they're part of my family. They've given me the responsibility to help them grow their money or manage it or help them save it. And now all of a sudden you've wanted to force me to do something that's really not in their best interest. Mm-hmm. So that was discouraging. So I ended up leaving, and I became one of my clients wrote software. This is back in the 80s, early 80s, like 84, 85. And software was, sort of like, what is software, So these guys wrote software for a very large regional bank in Atlanta, and they decided that they wanted to market it for other banks across the country. And this software managed what they call demand deposits, which are IRAs, simplified employee pension plans, that kind of retirement vehicle. So selling to banks is very, very difficult because they do everything by committee. And at the time, people didn't really understand software. So you go and have a sales meeting with one of their representatives, then they go to a committee, and that person has to try and sell your product or sell them on that idea. So it's a long, arduous task.
Process. Yeah.
And they eventually decided they wanted what was called an umbrella system. So it would be some software that would handle all of the different applications for a banking institution.
And what are you thinking at this time?
I'm just thinking, okay, I want to be I want to solve problems. I want to be their advocate and figure out a solution. And I'm still excited because I'm getting to be creative, but I'm also using my analytical skills, and I'm going, okay, I'm moving up the ladder, because now I became a senior vice president of marketing and sales. Mm-hmm. So I had a title, and I had my own office, and I felt like I was progressing in what my dream was, to become very successful, have the big corner office, the big bank account, the great vacations, the car and the house, and all that. And it just amazed me. But
there's a but. I can always hear a but in your voice.
As I grew through all this, I just started losing interest. It just like, this is not everything I want to do or want to be. And one day I woke up and I lost my job. My wife left me, took the kids. I lost my house. I had to declare bankruptcy. I was out of work for probably about eight or 9 months. I tried to do odd jobs. And I just had this moment that I said, this is not all worth it. I worked really hard. I've done everything that everybody said I should do and become. And here I am, and I'm struggling. And all of a sudden, we all have adversities in our life, right? And some people have a death in the family. Some people lose their jobs. Some people get divorced. Some people have other financial woes. They have relational issues. Well, I got separated. I lost my house. My dad died. I got struck by lightning. I had a job, and then I got put on probation. My life just was a mess. It's like everything was being moved out of the way that I put ahead of God. Mm-hmm. And God was basically trying to tell me, you stubborn man, that I took these things away from you. Then I struck you with lightning, and I actually was grilling, and I had a grill that was in the ground, and lightning struck right in front of the grill, went through the ground, up through the grill, and just as I was about to close the lid after using it, it got me. And I said, oh my God, I asked my son, I went inside and I said, is my head smoking? Because, so anyway, moving down to the end of the summer, I really started feeling terrible. And one night I woke up and had to go to the restroom, and it was really difficult to see. And I just thought, I'm in that sleepy haze mode, and maybe I got crust in my eyes, and I, find my way to the restroom. Fortunately, didn't miss the commode.
Good for that. Yeah, you got that part right.
Went back to bed, and then I woke up at like 6:30, and I could not see. And it's like I could see light, and I could see sort of silhouettes, but I couldn't see. And it just freaked me out. I was like, oh my God, what is this? And I tried washing my face, and it didn't work. So I called my daughter, separated. We weren't divorced. I called my daughter, who was living with my wife, and I said, you need to come take me to the doctor.
Okay.
So evidently I scared the daylights out of her. My ex-wife comes to pick me up. We go to my doctor, who is a internist cardiologist. They run some tests, and he comes in and he goes, I've got some very bad news for you. And I'm going, like, what?
What else? Like, what else now?
What else can you do to me? And he said, you've had a stroke. I said, I'm 53 years old. And he said, and then he starts telling me what can happen if you have a stroke, that you can have another stroke, you can get a blood clot. And if the blood clot goes to your heart, or it goes to your lung, or it goes to your brain, it can kill you. So I'm hearing this, and it's like the Charlie Brown image where the teacher's talking. And all of a sudden it just starts going, wah, 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 wah.
Yep.
So all I can hear is him saying, you should be dead. And since you're not dead, you're going to die. So I asked my charming and lovely ex-wife to take me home. And on the way home, in her infinite, non-filtered voice, is your life insurance paid up? And I'm like, we're on the interstate. And I said, stop the car. Let me out. She goes, I can't let you out on a highway. You can't even see. And I said, I just don't need this. So I went home, and I laid on my sofa, and I begged God to take me. I said, God, I've lost my wife. I've lost my family. I lost my dad. I got struck by lightning. And now this, I said, the ref should be throwing the flag for piling on here. And I'm just like, I'm literally at my wit's end. I'm sorry if I get a little emotional here. I'm just at my wit's end. And I lie down on the sofa, and I said, God, just take me. I cannot handle this anymore. I can't handle anything. I had a career, that was important. I worked hard all my life, and I wasn't afraid of working. And I had a relationship, and I had a beautiful house, and we had nice cars, and we went on vacation. I had 3 beautiful kids, and it wasn't enough. And God let me sit there and wallow. And eventually it got dark, and clear as I'm talking to you, I heard in my head, why don't you ask me to save you?
Okay.
And I'm like,
now we're getting to the nitty gritty here, because
I'm being the smart aleck that I am, of course.
Yeah.
I'm sarcastic. And I said, but I'm already saved. And then I hear it again. Why don't you ask me to save you? And basically, my view on this is, what God asked me to do is he took all these things that I had put in front of him, my wife, my family, my home, my cars, my job, my kids. And he said, it's time for you and I to get to know each other better. So I felt like, you've probably seen it in a movie or something, like I'm sitting in the middle of a room with a spotlight on me, naked as a jaybird. And I hear the, Jeff, this is God. And I'm like freaking out. And I'm just like, I'm so messed up, and everything is so wrong. And I recommitted myself to God at that moment. And it's like, everybody thinks, oh, well, if I'm saved, my life's going to be hunky dory. Well, God didn't change everything.
Mm-hmm.
He changed me from the inside out.
Mm.
I went from when I went to the doctor, my triglycerides were 6,000. Now your triglycerides are supposed to be 200.
So you're eating some serious fried chicken here.
Yep. And my blood sugar was 536. My blood pressure was 210 over 110. And, those are just signals that, you are really out of whack.
Yeah.
The doctor says, oh, yeah, we can fix this. Within 2 weeks, when I went back, everything was normal except for my blood sugar.
Mm.
Now, that wasn't the modern medicine. That was God.
Mm-hmm.
And God said, look, this is my message that I think I got a plan for you. Like Jeremiah says, I have a plan for you and it's for good. But we have some work to do. We have to figure out how you need to become a better son to me and learn more and trust me and build your relationship around me. And it changed my whole life, my outlook on things. I mean, I'm still a work in progress, and I've gone through some other difficult times. I got an infection in my foot, and they wanted to cut my toe off. Then they wanted to cut my foot off because I'm a type 1 diabetic or type 2. And, I'm just sitting there going, okay, God, I came in with 10 toes.
I'm going out.
I'm going out with 10 toes. And I fought a battle for 3.5 years on IV antibiotics, hyperbaric chamber, 8 surgeries, 3 different infections. They cut out a section of my big toe and the metatarsal bone, which are the long bones in your foot, put in a cement spacer, which was filled with a different antibiotics so that the infection wouldn't spread. But eventually it got into my blood, which is sepsis. Have you heard of sepsis?
Yep.
Okay, sepsis, they didn't tell me, but you get basically when you get sepsis, you have like a 50-50 chance of living.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm sitting here and I put my trust in God.
So
then put my trust in God.
So let me backtrack here then. So, you're on top of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden these things start crashing down on you.
Yeah.
So the show's called Jump. What is your advertising? What is your billboard? When is it time to jump into that next level? Like, when do you think it was time for you to jump to say, wait a minute, I'm getting this job, this car, this house. It's time for me to jump and say, thank you. Time to jump and say, I'm grateful. When was that time for you to jump that you didn't take that chance?
I think I was working for M&M Mars, the Mars Inc. You guys have a plant up there in Ephraim called Ephraim Foods. And it was a great company to work for. And I loved my job and I worked hard and, I got to sell fun and I didn't take advantage of it. And I didn't really say, I tried to make the most of it, enjoy it, but it just, I got over focused. So I should have jumped then. I should have jumped and said, look, there's more to life than this. And at the end of the day, we're all about relationships. And God put you and I on this earth to have a relationship with for no other reason. Does he need us? No. Does he want us? Yes. And I didn't see the value in that. My value was in what is it that I do? And through having the stroke, I jumped into what is my real value? And that's what my value is and who God says I am, not what my boss says I am, not what my clients say I am, not what you say I am, not what my wife said I am.
Right.
And I think that was the thing where I don't think people are willing to take that jump because the world sits and says, Jeff, you got to go put a nose to the grindstone. You got to work your butt off. You got to do everything that you can do to become successful and life will be great. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not an answer. That's not the answer. I mean, it's nice to have money. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have things and all that. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a strong foundation in who you really are,
right,
you're lost. And you've probably interviewed a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people, and it's hard because of course, I deal with a lot of, business people, and everybody's about their career. And remember in 2008, 2009, tons of people lost their job. And I worked in a ministry that was for networking, so you could meet other people to hopefully find a job. Every one of these people, their whole identity was, I'm an accountant, I'm an attorney, I'm a sales guy, I'm the senior marketing manager for Coca-Cola. And it's like, that's not who you are. That's what you do.
Right. Big titles. Titles don't do that.
So that was sort of my take. I mean, I don't know if I really answered your question, but to me, the jump was to go, what is the center focus of my life? It's not my work. It's not the success and the accomplishments. My focus of life is now God is the center of my life. And in John 20, Jesus says, I am in the Father's in me, and I am in you, and you're in me. So I am in a cocoon of holiness. And most people don't realize that they have this wonderful buffer from everything in the world if you will accept it and open the door to it.
Right. All right. So let's change the gear for a second.
Okay.
All right. It's now time for rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and whatever comes to your head, I just want you to spit it out. You can explain it real quick, but it's got to be fast because this is rapid fire. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You're going to pick the question. So I need you to pick A, B, C, or D. And those are the questions I'm going to ask you right now.
C.
C. All right, here we go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
What is success for you?
Success for me is walking in the Spirit and sharing the message with others and helping them walk in the Spirit.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Your favorite color?
Orange.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Favorite food?
Chocolate.
I'm seeing a theme here, my friend. I'm seeing a theme here. We got to get you off the chocolate because the next question is favorite dessert. I got it for you. Chocolate.
No, my favorite dessert is actually pecan pie.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And you may say pecan. I say pecan pie.
What's the one thing you notice about someone when you first meet them?
I kind of look into their eyes to just kind of see if there's somebody there at home. And just, how do I connect with them?
I like that. Is somebody there? Is somebody home looking in their eyes? Mm-hmm. All right. Remember that one. What's your fashion advice to someone?
I take comfort over fashion.
Oh,
I would rather be comfortable. And again, I'm a man, but I would rather be comfortable than wear something that looks fantastic that's not comfortable.
There you go. What is the best compliment you've ever gotten?
Well, it just kind of sounds a little selfish, but I was very humbled by this as someone told me that Jesus Christ just emanates out of you.
There you go. That's the best compliment you can ever get.
Yeah.
All right. And the last question is, what's your favorite TV show?
My favorite TV show is Blue Bloods.
I watched that too. Nice one.
Yeah, well, that's been on 19 years. I fell in love with Tom. Well, not fell in love, but admired Tom Selleck when he was in Magnum PI. Mm-hmm. To where I got the mustache, had the Hawaiian shirt and shorts. But
all right, I'll be TC. There you go. We can watch it.
Okay, TC.
All right, that's rapid fire. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Thanks, Charles. I'm Carolyn Dickinson, and I'm here to tell you that the Life Success Board systems are live. These success boards have massive impact. The system will allow you to be able to envision that anything is possible for every area of your life. It'll give you direction, it'll give you focus, and it'll keep you moving forward. There are 8 success board systems available to you, plus bonuses. So for more information on this amazing system, click the link below. You don't want to miss it. Back to you, Charles.
Hey, it's okay if you're driving or too busy to take notes. Charles has your parachute packed with all the info you need to jump into success. Check out the links section for all the tools you need to land safe. Now, let's keep falling with Charles and his special guest.
Yes, we're back live. And if you're looking for any specials or anything that you can find out, you can go straight to my website, thecharlesmatthewsjr.com, where we have all the specials, gifts, anything right there from all of our guests. You can find it right there, charlesmatthewsjr.com. All right. So before, we just finished doing rapid fire, and there's something that you said that is that I'm keeping into my head right now. I look through people's eyes to see if anybody's home. What do you mean if anybody's home?
I think, there's an old expression that says the eyes are the window to your soul. And not that I can see somebody's soul. That's God's responsibility, not mine. But I think sometimes you can see people that just they don't seem to have any life in their eyes.
Okay.
And unfortunately today, just because the world just comes at us in so many different directions, that you get overwhelmed. And when you get overwhelmed, you almost get paralyzed. And that's kind of what I look for.
Okay. That's something different because, every day you're walking around and sometimes people just don't know what they're doing, how much they're doing, or they're overdoing it. And it's just sometimes you just need that break to say, whew, I need to get one with me. Like the other day, I was stressed out. I think I was doing too much. And I said, you know something? I want to go feed some ducks.
There you go.
Just grab some old chips, crackers, cookies, and just go sit and relax and enjoy yourself in nature. And thank God for, hey, I can feed the ducks. I can stand here and throw this over to the duck, and the duck's enjoying it. And he's looking at me, and into the water, and everything is good. This is a moment that I can enjoy, thanks to you. So
there's nothing better than being in that place.
No. And here's the question, though. Do people forget that they have two bosses? And let me clarify. You have your 9-to-5 boss that everybody always worries about. Everybody always thanks. Everybody always pleases. Everybody always bends over backwards and try things for. But we forget about the other boss. How does that work out?
Well, here's the true thing. When Jesus was walking this earth, he said, Caesar is emperor, so hail to Caesar. But at the end of the day, if I do not acknowledge and walk with my boss, the God, and I don't understand who I truly am, what is my true identity, and how God looks at me, I'm a lost sheep. Because bosses in the secular world come and go. And God never does. God never leaves you. He never lies to you. Every promise that he ever made, he lives up to. So to me, yes, you have to work for your boss. And sometimes bosses can be very difficult. And I have a daughter that's 32 and she goes, my boss is terrible. And this is an old job. And I said, this is how you learn to be a good boss, by working for people that aren't good bosses.
Love it. All right. It's now we're going to do another little quick thing. And, we're playing along. So stay tuned. Here we go.
Now time for Pick 3.
It's now time for Pick 3 before we let you go. You're going to pick 3 numbers between 1 and 10. And those are the questions I'm going to ask you before we let you go. So give me 3 numbers between 1 and 10.
1, 7, and 9.
1, 7, and 9. Number 1. What's one thing you wish you would have known before you began in this career industry of yourselves?
I wish I had known God better. I wish the old saying, I wish I knew now. I wish I knew now what I was then. Is that the right way?
I wish I had known what I know then. Yes.
Yes. I wish I had known now. I wish I had known then what I know now and what I understand.
Right. Okay. if you were in my shoes, what one question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
Where are you now?
And what is the answer?
The answer is that I am at peace. And I finally, I still have struggles and I still have strife and I still have issues, but I am at peace. And I actually found for the first time in my life what the word joy really means. It's, happiness is a moment, and happiness is, your birthday or wedding anniversary or whatever, but that's a moment. Joy, it comes from your walk in God. So like when you're feeding the ducks, there's joy in feeding that because you're not worried about anything else but feeding ducks. And it's simple. And we make life so hard, and it's really simple. Not that it's easy to do, but it really is simple.
All right. And then last one is, where can people find you? You're doing other shows, other podcasts. Where can people find you?
I've been on a couple of podcasts. One that was a radio station in London, which was very unique. I've done one with Joaquin Wilson, and I'm doing this, and I have another one scheduled tomorrow. So I'm trying to put this, and I'm creating my own website, which is jeffreychurchgamwell.com.
All right.
That will have all the things on there. And then I'm going to have the pathway to peace with finding your identity in God in there. And I'm writing a book. Got to plug my book.
Got to do that.
I'm writing a book called Your Best Thinking Got You Here. So how's that working for you?
Hold on. What kind of title is that again?
Your Best Thinking Got You Here.
Yeah.
So how's that working for you?
That's kind of a twister. Your best thinking got you here. How's that working out for you? Meaning,
well, the funny thing is that we do stuff what we think is the best thing for us, and without my guidance from God, my path is not certain. I know His way is going to work. My way, I can't tell you how many times I've failed, and most people say, I did this, and you really don't do it by yourself. By the grace of God, you're doing this great podcast. And what are you doing? You're sharing words, you're sharing messages, you're sharing things to other people, which is your gift. That's not necessarily your best thinking. You were guided to do this, whether you believe it or not. You have to do the work and leave the rest of it up to God.
There you go. All right, my friend, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. Now, if you want him to be on your show and you have a podcast, give him a call, 678-852-3751. That's 852-3751. Give him a call and say, listen, I saw you on the show. The message is there. It's clear. We want to talk more. Grab him, put him on the show. Jeff, it's been a pleasure to have you on my show, my friend. Before we let you go, anybody want to say hi to and a shout out to?
I'd like to say hi to my kids. They're the highlight of my life. If there's achievement that I've made in my life, that's the best thing I've done. And I've been so blessed to have three beautiful kids. One daughter has got her doctorate in psychology. She's working in the medical profession up in Greenville, and my two kids are living in Roswell, Georgia. One works as a representative for a rapper, and the other one is an aspiring actor, screenwriter.
There you go.
Caitlin, Maddie, and Chase.
There you go, guys. It's always about people in your life. All right. So, like I always tell you, you didn't have to listen, but you did. And thank you for listening. But here's the thing. What you got from this today is hopefully you'll jump into action and don't wait. Action to me is thanking the people in your life and thanking the Almighty for giving you positions in your life. Now think about it. If it wasn't for, as I call it, the first boss, you wouldn't have that position. You wouldn't have that car. You wouldn't have things in your life. So what are you really doing? Take that chance. Stop. Wait. Jump into action and look at your life and jump. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Go Braves.
Has come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
Please be advised that this podcast is meant for educational and informational purposes only and is in no way a replacement for legal or medical advice. The opinions contained within are solely those of the interviewers and interviewees and should be received as so. Those seeking help or advice are encouraged to obtain professional legal and medical.
Hey, hope you had a great time listening to the show. If you think I did a great job, please buy me a coffee. I still got a lot of work to do. We would love to hear from you, your feedback, so please click the link and leave us a review. You can help us grow by following us on all social media platforms and sharing this link. Once again, it's time for you to jump. Success is waiting.